Hi everybody, welcome to SA Rugby, sponsored by Betway. We're going to have a quick chat about Dave Rennie. Why is he not banned? Why the silence?
Great question, Mark.
Well, Zal says the best coach in the world. That's why he's not banned. Dave Rennie comes out and he says, in 20 years, I've never done this. I've never spoken about a referee or match officials. They were horrendous. He said they cheated them. Wales got the calls they didn't get. We're going to get an apology next week. It doesn't change the result. He said, a week ago, we got an apology for a yellow card that should never have been, that changed the result against Scotland. What is Maurice Jonker doing in this game? He said, he was the guy in the box 2 weeks before that. We're asking, what is Maurice Jonker doing anywhere after that Lions series? So I agree 100% with what Dave Rennie said, just like I agreed 100% with what Rassie said.
Spot on.
But now where's World Rugby's consistency in
Bringing
that's public.
It's
public. He's taken out a referee. His match officials. He's questioned their integrity.
Yep.
He's questioned how poor they are. All valid.
Absolutely.
But we've heard nothing from World Rugby. Absolute silence. So the prejudice and the bias against South Africa continues. And this isn't a whinge about we lost and it's the referee's fault. World Rugby was out to get us. And earlier I said to Zels, maybe that 1 point defeat calms them for the next 2 years and they're not bitter. That England actually got the win and we can move on. But the officiating was horrendous again in all the matches.
Yeah.
If you take Eben Etzebeth, the high tackle to him is a straight yellow card. It's not a red because there's no intent, but it's a yellow. Contact to the head. Same incident in the Australian game, yellow card. The other one, not even a penalty in the one game, red card. So it's kind of like the inconsistencies that these guys play with and the law interpretation and application of that.
And
diabolical.
And you know how many ex-players and people that were rugby purists that I grew up with and have watched rugby have told me that they can no longer support the game. It's something that's growing in terms of people's disgust with the level of inconsistency and nothing being done about it.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, so I'm on the other side of the argument, but I agree with Mark. The point for me is that rugby is just a game that you cannot slow down in slow motion action replays and try and adjudicate it after the fact. It's just a game that isn't suited to that. That's the reason they put those grids on the gridiron in NFL. It's a game designed for TV. It's a game designed for stop-start. Rugby's supposed to flow. And so rugby fans have got to, in my opinion, start to live with the fact that referees make bad decisions, but leave the referee as the sole arbiter so that the game can continue. This thing where we slow the game down, at any point in the game, you can stop it and say, that team is to blame or this team is to be sanctioned. And I think rugby's got to go back to go forward. I don't think TMOs and slow-mos and all of this stuff is actually helping the game in any way. We're just alerting people to the fact that the laws can't actually be enforced and the game flow at the same time. But getting back to Dave Rennie, I just don't understand strategically how this guy, who's just taken shots at Rassie and SA Rugby for criticising Nick Berry, then comes out the following week and does exactly the same thing. It seems like a very short-sighted move to me. And again, I don't know how World Rugby justifies not sanctioning him because the only difference is video evidence supporting his claims.
Well, you know what disappointed me in this whole Rassie Erasmus debacle was the lack of support he got publicly from the other coaches. So Eddie Jones, 2 years ago, took on, the New Zealander, Ben O'Keefe, and said they knew they would have to play well to beat Wales because they were going to play against 60 men, and the 2 sendings off showed that. Called him a cheat. Then apologised a week later because he was forced to apologise. He came out and said unacceptable what Rassie did.
Yes.
He had done the same thing. Dave Rennie says unacceptable what Rassie does. Rassie said, I'm speaking on behalf of every international coach who experiences this every week. If they had stood together and said enough, it's bullshit. Fix this because we're not going to tolerate this kind of crap every single Saturday that we're losing a test by 1 or 2 points because of incompetent refereeing or absolute bias or cheating, which brings me back to this thing. Why is any referee in the game of rugby union beyond a betting bribe approach? We say cricket, well, the umpire could be crooked. We say soccer, the match official could be crooked. But what has made rugby's officials the sanitized, purist bunch that we can't even entertain the thought that maybe that guy has a bet on the game? That's why those first 3 points are going to Wales or going to Australia, or that 3 cards will be shown in the game. We don't know that. We assume it would never happen. But the crazy amount of decisions that are happening, and there's no consequence the next week. Maurice Jonker sits in a TMO and makes the same mistake.
Yeah.
Referees make the same mistakes and they're banded together and they're a protected lot. So World Rugby really has to look at themselves. We keep on saying it.
They won't though, until there's change, until Beaumont's gone and the old boys club is gone. I'm afraid that we have to sort of just
Live with it. Talk about it every week.
Yeah, go through the motions, say the odd for fuck's sakes, and
you know, I just think if you're a guy like Marius Jonker and you fuck it up every week and it gets shown, when do you not say, maybe I'm not good enough for this? I can't handle the pressure. I'm making the wrong calls. When is your point of kind of integrity there?
Maybe there should be something implemented that rates the referees. Maybe we can do it on SARugby, where we rate the performance every week and give a rating for a referee, just so that we can, you know.
Do you know they tried that in Super Rugby many years ago? That the referee would join, that would be the two teams that would get interviewed, and then the referee would come and he would answer the media. So if there were any complaints, he could explain and educate the media to saying, Dave Rennie is wrong. Law 51.3a says this, and that's what I applied, and go check it on the tape, and my reporting is accurate. They asked to be excused after 2 weeks because they felt they were being attacked, their character's been attacked, and their families are upset. You know, and how do they... So if you want to blow at that level, you want to be seen as the top professional match officiator, with that comes not all the glamour and the fanfare, but it comes the scrutiny and the intensity. And if you keep on getting it wrong and you keep on getting protected, when will you ever take consequence to it?
I think it just comes back to the whole...
It's not a coincidence that the best referees in the world are Welsh, and have been.
And I think you said to me, at about 9:20, the best team in the world is
I did not say that at all. I thought Wales were...
Kev was screaming on the 14th base, penalty, offside, just blow anything.
But I think what it
And
does do, Mark, is it does come back to the whole professional versus amateur argument. I think some of this, like, sanctity around the refs and the laws and the guys that run the game, it's all just a holdover from the amateur era where there were things that were just not right. You couldn't do, you couldn't say. And unfortunately, in the professional era, there's just not, those lines don't exist. And until everyone's on board with that, we're going to continually have this tension.
I sent Rassie a thing saying, look, we didn't do enough to win the game. But I said in Afrikaans, you know, the ref really stepped us. His response was, congratulations, England. So I think he's been sanitized for this week. I know nothing, no English.
What I will say about Russ is he didn't come out to attack Dave Rennie. I mean, you know, Rennie took shots at Rassie after his video.
That really pissed me off that
I
they
was
didn't back
surprised
him
by
up.
that.
That everyone went for Rassie, so it reinforced this hold that World Rugby's administration has on these guys.
Yeah.
It's like if enough coaches speak out about the absurdities of those decisions.
It's disappointing when you look at the sort of character that rugby players are supposed to have. You know, in terms of being tough, courageous. They certainly haven't shown any of that during World Rugby's continued mismanagement of the game. It's disappointing. I hope it changes. That's my Christmas wish.
And the best team for the autumn internationals for you, from the north, France or Ireland?
Ireland. Has to be. I mean, they were emphatic against Japan. I know that, but I mean, you know, they put them away big time. They put away New Zealand. It should have been more like 30 or 40 points. 20, 30 points. And I thought that they would have a lull against Argentina.
So did I. We thought a banana peel game.
Yeah, and they smashed them, you know, just smashed them. So Ireland looked clinical. They certainly look the team to beat in the Six Nations this year. But it should be one hell of a Six Nations with England, Ireland, and
it's the best
France.
it's best teams in the world. It's like
Yeah.
we'll play in the B division in the Rugby Championship
Yeah.
and get a little promotion for 2023.
There we go.
Arrive as underdogs, all of us, and watch them eliminate each other.
But wouldn't it be great
Fabulous.
to see the Box play in a Seven Nations?
I'd love to see that. Huh?
Yeah.
Box versus Italy would be fun.
Yeah, see Italy playing the Rugby Championship.
Anyway, guys, thanks for coming in and your opinions, as always. Appreciate it. And see you next week.